Hello, welcome to the OK Roundtable. I'm Kim Sex.
And I'm Andrew Phot Rodriguez.
And unfortunately, there's only two of us here, and so it's gonna be a very intimate affair here with the two of us. Uh, welcome to what was that? What was the Wayne's World show? Was it just called Wayne's World? I guess it was just called Wayne's World, huh?
It's just Wayne's World. Yeah.
Damn it! I was just thinking because they were. I keep on thinking that it's not just Wayne's World. They had like another name for the show. Like
What was the name of that show that's live on Saturday night?
I know what it was.
Mad TV.
Jimmy Kimmel. They do it live every night. It's crazy. No, I've had a bit of a day, not just a bit of a week, but a bit of a day.
A
I
doozy of a
wish
day.
I wish I stayed in bed. If I'll
Oh,
say this.
damn. You had an Arnold from the Magic School Bus day.
Yeah, like I should have stayed in bed. I
Should
shouldn't
have stayed home.
I should have stayed home. So it's a time of year where the sun is at a particular angle. Where when I'm going to work, because I have to drive east to go to work, which is a fucking nightmare enough as it is. But it is at a particular angle now where it's like in my eyes. Like even no matter like I have to kind of like bob and weave the rearview mirror and the shader to kind of not be blinded the whole fucking time.
Okay.
And then
I mean, sunglasses don't help, or is it just overwhelming?
I either have sunglasses or my glasses. I need to
Right.
get and my
Right,
sense of dark
'cause you have
transitions.
bad eyes.
If I didn't have,
Special eyes.
but it's only for distance. Like it's like other than that up close I'm fine, but it's distance that I
Right,
have
they're
a
only
problem.
broken in one way.
Yeah,
I get it.
I know some people who are broken all the way.
Yeah, like Leonard. Can't
Yeah,
see anything.
can't see
Ever.
shit. So and these are transitional lenses, so I have to be out in the sun, and we all know how like the windshield of a vehicle has UV protection, so it doesn't allow UV to hit this and darken it.
Right.
So, well, shit. I need to get prescription sunglasses.
It's kind of
Um,
kind of the inverse problem of when it's like an overcast day, and that's when the worst damage to your eyes because you're getting high UV, but your eyes aren't you're not squinting to avoid them. It's
right, but then luckily I have that where if UV's hitting them, regardless of how much sun it is, like boom, I get to have this nice little wah, like wapa, wapa. I'm protected. But so I'm on my way, right? And I'm taking the turn, and for some reason at this intersection, traffic like slows down or stops. And I think there must be an accident or some sort of construction, something. I don't know. There's cones on the road, so I'm like maybe or probably construction. I don't know. But either way, we instantly get backed up, and then like so I'm in the turning lane to turn into this side road, and an amazing thing happened. Like everything started moving, and I thought, oh okay, and like for some reason, like for a moment, like the sun hit my eye, and I was like, oh, like that, and I see the vehicle, not the one directly in front of me, start moving, and so like I kind of slipped off the brake and hit the gas pedal, and I hit the person in front of me.
fuck, dude. Good.
So there's a particular little problem that I have to now. Luckily, like we didn't get anything else involved, and it's all going to be settled privately. But
Right, of course.
that means that now I have to replace the bumper of a vehicle, and that's going to be like $700.
That sucks.
And I'm just like, cool, cool. That's what I wanted to pay $700 for that. So that's kind of how my day started. That was the beginning of my day, and it only got more annoying from there. I don't know if have you ever been in an accident? Like, have you ever been in anything like that?
Oh yeah, I've been hit 3 times since I bought the Jeep.
Always settled privately, or do you go through insurance?
I mean, I have a dash cam. Oh, and I have a Jeep. I don't take any damage.
So then you do go through insurance?
Like, no, I
Oh,
don't take any damage. It's their fault. So I'm just like,
this one was my
I'm not
fault.
I'm not putting an accident on my record because you're dumb and fucked up your car.
Yeah, that
Like,
was.
you know what you shouldn't have done? You shouldn't have driven your car in front of a Jeep with a steel bumper, despite me having right of way, because I have dash cam footage of you doing that, and I've taken no damage.
I got like it kind of. I kind of have like a weird like scratch on my car, on my truck, and like the license plate holder, like one of the screws popped off, and I was like, ah. But
Cool.
everything other than that, like that could be a quick buff out and then repaint, no big deal. But I fucking collapsed that other bumper, like, like I was just like,
What did you hit?
uh, an F-150, I think.
With an F-350?
No, with my personal truck with
Oh.
a Ram 1500.
Oh. Okay.
So I got a scratch on it. It wasn't bad, but yeah, that's
You gotta fix this shit.
yeah. But now, well, because especially more so because it was a company truck. Like, it was someone's work truck, and so like immediately what he did is he called his boss. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. No, yeah, that's what
Yep.
you got to do.
That's what you do.
And so then he had to call his boss, and then they're like, yeah, we'd rather not deal with insurance. I'm like, me either. So that's what I get
Yeah,
to get.
that's messy.
That's what I get to deal with for the foreseeable future. I mean, at least for the next couple of weeks or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa. So how come you're gonna be broke for a while? Well, I'm paying a
Let's
stupid
talk
tax.
about it.
I'm paying a stupid tax, and that's just kind of how life is
That's how it
sometimes.
works.
When you do something stupid, you got to pay for it. Luckily, I'm in a position where I can be like, next month I have an extra pay period.
Mm.
So like it kind of lined up perfectly for me to be like, okay, I have an extra pay period in the month. That's where that's gonna go towards. Like, all right, cool. Oh well, no toys, no fancy things for me. It's gonna be just repairing someone else's shit. So that's where I'm at. But other than that, like I don't know. It was just like I hate driving east to go to work. Every morning it's this, and then that means though when I'm leaving work, driving west. So I get to get the rising sun, and then as I'm going home, the setting sun. And I'm like,
Yep.
what?
Yep. I've had to do that too. Had to do that too.
It's definitely not something that I care for much. But
No, it fucking sucks.
I mean, that's why I like overcast weather here. Like whenever it does get overcast, I'm just like, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, overcast is great for me. I'm solid overcast.
So the Overwatch League is now sponsored by Bud Light. What are your thoughts on a beer sponsor for an esports league such as Overwatch League?
Eh?
Because I know some people have
I,
gotten kind of like, oh well, it's a game marketed to
yeah,
kids.
first scan that reads a little weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it is somewhat marketed towards kids, not necessarily children, but certainly under the drinking age. No, I guess I don't quite understand what market they're trying to hit.
I mean, if they're aiming for 18 to 35, but the problem is that the people and the players are.
Are any 18 to 35-year-olds just clamoring for Bud Light?
Well, I mean, I don't think I mean, a lot of the discussion that was around it was about, like, well, football and football all have like alcohol sponsors, and no one gives a shit. Hockey has beer sponsors, no one gives a shit. Like, and
Yeah,
that's
but that's marketed to adults who are drinking while they're watching, which kind of makes sense. And I guess they're trying to make that happen for Overwatch League, but like it's never gonna happen as long as you're only gonna let Korean children play. Like it's just not gonna work. Like I don't understand what their market strategy is. I don't get what they're trying to do.
yeah. I just find it I find it weird. That's it. I just find it weird.
A little bit. I do a little bit too.
I understand like you're gonna go where money talks because they now have like Toyota, Coca Cola, and all this other stuff. So like Bud Light, I'm like, okay, I guess. And I think that's why it's weird though now that for the World Cup, previous World Cup attendees will not be able to go because they changed the rules. Because the Overwatch World Cup used to be a place where like people and contenders and stuff, the place where a lot of players who are not 18 yet tend to relegate and hang around. That's where they would also shine along with the Overwatch League pros. So like you have these pros who come in, and then it's not just a pro showcase. It's a tier 2, tier 3 showcase along with the pros. That if you because you know how it is, it's a team game. If you have the proper support to like really pop off, you can really show off what it is. And if you have an entire team that's like we're gonna play around you, just kind of show off how you're playing, that's the strategy or whatever, and you make someone shine so they can get signed. It makes sense. Like when you have someone at that caliber of player helping you out. Well, they changed the rules to not allow anyone under 18. It's like so there are some people who were there last year who were 16 who are not allowed to be there this year. They're 17, and it's like, who are you? Who are you? Like, why? Why are you doing that?
I wonder if it wasn't a legal issue.
You know, it probably could have been. It probably could have been a completely legal issue.
The more I dive into the corporate America, the more I realize that that's what moves everything. Is nothing happens unless there's a lawsuit to force it. Nobody tries anything unless there's a lawsuit to make somebody have to do something. So.
Well, they also have like a 16 slot tournament system, right? For that.
Okay.
But they're only the top 10 teams are getting paid flights and hotels and amenities that everyone else would have to provide for themselves. So that means, considering it's the World Cup, say you're a player in, I don't know, Japan or whatever, and you guys didn't make top 10. You're number 11. It's like, okay, so now because you didn't make it to the top 10, you and your entire team have to make flights and arrangements and shit to go to Los Angeles, and then pay for your hotels and pay for everything. And a lot of these players are like, again, they're really young because that's where that talent comes from. So you're asking a bunch of 18-year-old students or like just 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids, like, oh yeah, just have an entire thing blocked out for us. It's like, I don't know, dude. It's a bit rough. There's a lot of contention around that. I don't know if contention is the right word, but it's a lot of debate about like why they would do that.
Right. I'm betting it was legal, something or other.
You think that they drink?
Maybe in order to get a beer sponsor, they had to limit it at least to 18-year-olds, and they're not willing to turn down the money. Probably something like that.
Maybe. It just seems strange. And you know, it could have been a sponsorship issue. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I wonder if Dreamcast had anything to do with it. They're like, we can't have that again. We can't have younger than 18 people. No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. Everyone needs to be at least of legal age in this country. Like, okay, sure. So I guess to more positive news, but still related to Overwatch, the workshop has been releasing some pretty interesting things. Like, what have you seen? What are some of the things you've seen that have kind of got you?
My favorite so far has been when the higher he drops from, the more damage his Earth Shatter does.
Oh yeah, the Earth Shatter change.
That just makes so much sense. Like, it's great. I like that. The one that I showed you earlier in the week, that was Roadhog, where his hook works like an actual grappling hook, as well as his scorpion pull thing. That's
right, where you're basically Spider Pig, right? Yeah.
Spider Pig.
That has to be the game type name if you're gonna fucking pick it. Spider Pig.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Like
seen some interesting ones.
I've watched Spider-Verse. Like I probably watched Spider-Verse now more than I've watched any of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies combined, which is crazy. I actually like it a lot and keep watching it. Just
I'm still
on a
surprised that's
whim.
Nick Cage.
Yeah,
Like, it's
it's great
so
though. I mean,
good. It's
he's
so
perfect at
good.
it.
It's so good.
It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie.
It really is.
Hot take.
Hot take: the movie that won Best Animated Picture at the Oscars. It's a pretty good
Yeah,
movie. Turns out.
popular movie. It's good.
Hottest take 2019. That's what you're here for. The for the hottest commentary. Yeah, I'm kind of excited for it. I mean, everyone keeps on talking about like it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird the discussion on the forums about like well, the people who actually know coding are going to understand how limited it is, and the people who don't are overhyping it probably. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's not. It's not a.
Just see what happens.
Let's just see what happens. Like it's
Like
gonna.
some people poo-pooed Forge too, or like, oh, it's gonna be limited. You can't do shit with it. And people kept breaking Forge to the point where Bungie had to keep updating Forge to do the shit they broke it to do.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you can do that? Okay, yeah, sure, let's add that in.
Yeah,
Let's fucking add that
and that
in."
was with a fucking Xbox 360. Like, just give people a chance to play with it and see what happens.
Well, I mean, now that since they released Forge on PC, like you can do fucking lots of crazy shit.
Pretty excited about
Like,
that too.
I mean, they already.
Master Chief Collection.
Oh, I'm still like I can see them like sitting there going like, "We need to get it right. We need to get it right. We need to get it right." And it's like, okay, understood.
You can patch it.
But is there a way that I can like not have to pay full price for every fucking game again? If I already have the Master Chief Collection,
Right.
like I feel like it should be like
Let me buy Reach separate and give me the others as a bonus.
right. I mean that's kind of how, or not a, as bonus half off. Fuck, I'll pay half off, but like don't make me pay the whole thing again. I mean I will. You know that I will. Like you're gonna be that guy. I
But
will.
if you want some goodwill, some brownie points and maybe some leeway when things don't go perfectly smooth at launch, make the price nice and we won't care.
Yeah,
Just saying.
like I don't know. People were upset about Halo 5's like the rec system where you buy cards and stuff like that. It's kind of like they're making money somehow, and then a lot of that went to sponsored tournaments. Like I don't know if you remember when they had the HCS stuff. It's like yeah,
Yeah.
and the more you bought, the more you supported those packs, the higher the price pool was for those players. Like it was beneficial for the community for you
Yeah,
to
and
be all up in that.
those were the ones I ever bought. The
Yeah.
ones that were community pools.
Mhm.
Same with Rocket League. I bought packs for that just to support tournaments. Like I'm cool with that. I like supporting things with my money when I have any.
When there's some available.
When there is some.
When I have external funds, I like to spend those on the things that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta make it me want to enjoy them, though.
Yep.
How do you do that?
I need new tires. I don't want to get cheap ones, which means that I can't afford to get the ones that I want because they're not cheap.
You know, it's one of those things where when you really think about like okay things that are important, tires, high up there, a mattress, high up there.
I have a great mattress.
Like if you think about the longevity of your well-being of your vehicle, there are certain things where you're just kind of like gotta get it. Like and so like
I have top-notch boots and merino wool socks. I have oh yeah merino wool. You need to try it.
I'm gonna have to look up
Swear
that.
by it.
So what is
Swear
it?
by it.
What is it?
It's just wool, but wool is a really good textile to make socks out of. It doesn't change its temperature when it's wet, and it's I don't know, it's just good shit, dude. It's really comfortable. Like you're sitting there thinking like wool socks, and summer I'm gonna die, but you don't notice you're wearing them. They're just super comfortable, and they kind of mold around your feet. Overweight Knights Roundtable brought to you by merino wool socks.
If we
Unless
could,
that's a brand name, in which case we are not.
in which case, but if you are though, what's up? Apparently,
I mean, talk to me.
apparently,
Huge fan.
big fan. I'll have to try that out though. Like I didn't realize that was a
Yeah.
thing.
Oh man,
I
love it.
I just
Love
get
it.
I just get like I just wear my socks down until like I basically ride the wheel like that the wheels until they fall off kind of thing for my socks. Like, oh look, there's a hole in them, and I throw that away, and then I move on. And I buy another big old pack of socks, and
No, dude, if I'm unhappy about putting on a pair of socks, I just go out and buy new socks immediately. It's one of the few things that I'm I don't know, compulsive about. I need good socks. Can't settle for less on that. I don't know.
I just don't think about it. I just think like, oh look, they're a little worn down.
I know what it's like to not have good socks.
I don't know what it's like to have good socks. I just have socks. Like I just have the regular
Dude,
shit off the
get good
shelf.
socks. Get good socks.
I never need new shoes. Like mine are worn down quite a bit. I know that shoes are like another one of those things where you gotta be up on top of having your good shoes.
I can give you recommendations. Uh,
For shoes, no, I'm gonna go with the dad mode and get New Balance. No, I'm kidding.
New Balance, yeah.
Hell
No,
yeah,
man.
dude.
I wear hiking boots every day. Actually, it's my go-to.
I can't. Well, mainly because maybe that's my experience because I always wear steel toe. Anything that I've ever worn like that has been steel toe, and therefore extra weight. Therefore, it can be slightly annoying to deal with on a day to day when it's just like not for work.
Right.
Like I just want to slip on some tennis shoes and get the fuck out the door. Like I don't want to fucking.
I'm gonna send you an Amazon link to what I wear because they're super comfortable.
Oh.
Like I can go. I took these things from my home in Birmingham to the airport, over to Atlanta, over to Las Vegas, drove up to Utah and hiked a national park without having to change shoes, and never once felt even remotely uncomfortable.
That's some high praise. That's battle tested. That's some
I
real
mean,
battle tested shit right there.
I put 3,000 miles on them bad boys last year across the country. Like
An oil change there, my dude.
them shoes took me to Boston and back in 36 hours, which is not a 36-hour trip. Yeah, Merrill Moab 2 mids. That's my shit. I need a new pair of them too, but I can't afford that shit either because that's basically half a tire.
Half a tire.
Yeah. One pair of those is half a tire. And I need somewhere between 3 and 5, depending on which tire I go with. I can go cheap and only have to buy 3, because I've got a full spare on my butt end that's never been used because the guy that I bought it from didn't believe in rotating and balancing, I guess.
Wait, like his tires?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the actual tires in the Jeep are fine, but he never rotated the 5th one in, which is kind of standard operating procedure. Like you buy if you're gonna buy 5 fresh tires for a Jeep, you rotate all 5, not just 4. Right? Makes sense.
It does.
Like if you've gone through all the trouble to buy 5 tires and 5 wheels that match, rotate all 5.
There we go.
But he didn't, so I have a full size, full tire ready to go that I can just take off my ass in and put back on the Jeep. So I can buy 3 and get away with it and rotate one of the current rough ones to the back. Or I could go for good tires and have to buy 5 of them. Or I guess I could take the spare off. I haven't run her ass end off yet.
That's very weird.
What do you mean?
That someone wouldn't rotate their fucking extra tire.
I didn't understand it. Maybe, okay, so some people in the Jeep community think that there's something special to having like a pristine spare. I don't know why, but I've heard that from at least a couple of people that are Jeepers. Whatever.
Jeepers.
Jeepsters. Jeebies.
Jeepers. Creepers.
Yeah. Do you know how many Jeeps I've seen with Jeepers Creepers written on it somewhere?
Too many because the director's a pedophile. One is too many. One is too many.
I've seen more than
That's way too many. There's way too many. And it wasn't even that good of a movie. Ugh, people. Anyway, so swapping back to something that's still Blizzard. So there were a lot of memes on the WoW community because a lot of people got banned. Like a lot of people got banned recently.
Why?
Over mods for models. And
so nothing affecting gameplay, just cosmetic.
But it still alters game files, therefore definitely against TOS.
I mean, I'm just asking for.
Oh yes, well, the whole thing is it has those kind of mods.
I'm not defending it. I'm just trying to understand.
Those mods have the potential for it because blah 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 modifying game files. But what it is a lot of them are like armor fixes, like it's the old WoW armors were just like really shitty skins, and like it's been over a decade. Game design's come a long way since then. Right. So some people like go in and change how armor looks, but all of those mods are only for yourself. Like only you can see the change. So you fix how that armor looks on you. It has nothing to do with it. Doesn't change anything else. It's just for your visual satisfaction.
Right.
But then there's also the people who like mod titties. So I mean, like it's kind of like. Or if they wanna play,
never cheat. Wow.
If they want to be a hunter, but they want to put on like, I don't know, a death knight, a different class, different everything, armor set and stuff. You can just I think T-Mog was one of the main ones. Essentially, all you did was type in whatever thing you wanted to wear, or at least what you wanted to see yourself wearing, and that's what you were wearing. That's it. Like it wasn't anything, but apparently things like that also you could change herbs. So you can make an herb spawn 5,000 times bigger than normal. So like when you're herbing around, you can see where these gigantic mountainous herbs are at. So you can go collect them much easier. Like, oh look, there's one over there. There's one over there. Like you're just fucking walking around.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of people are upset about that because it like, a lot of the RP community is what really mainly use those kinds of mods.
Okay.
And they're 6-month bans. Like, oof. It's not just like, 30 days, like 6 months.
So if you get banned, does your time still wind down? Like if you have, like, I don't know how WoW time works anymore.
I don't know if you
still buy time.
You still buy time, but that's why I don't know about if you've bought time. Like if you pre-bought time, I'm like, I put 6 months, like I'm paid up for 6 months. I don't know if you get banned if that time gets eaten or if that time gets told till later.
It has to get held because they'd get sued to infinity and beyond otherwise.
Let's see, Phot just says yes it does, but I don't know what yes it does means. Like,
yes it does what?
It gets eaten.
You get eaten.
Oof.
Wow, and they've not gotten sued for that?
I mean, they broke TOS. Like, I don't think.
Still though, just taking people's money is it's a hard line stance.
Well, I'm wondering if it's because if it was prepaid. I don't know if you can still continue to pay into a banned account because I always had a recurring subscription, so I don't know if I got banned if it would still try to draw money because I think if it did, I'd be really mad.
Right.
And that could be a thing.
We should test it.
I've been banned before, but it was banned whenever my account got hacked. Like like I stopped playing WoW. Like I played from 2009 to 2011. In 2011 I stopped, but I came back at like the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, and in that time, someone had taken my account. And I had to like get my account back, this and that, like, and they were like, by the way, you're banned because your account was taken by a cold farmer. And I was like, oh, my bad. Whoops.
I guess that's my fault.
Like, all right, and they're like, yeah, don't worry, we're gonna take that off because that wasn't you. Blah blah blah. Put two-factor authentication. Okay, that's fine. So I got my account back and like. My professions had changed. Like, I became an herbalist, and I was like, cool. And an engineer. I was like, cool. Like, let's do this, I guess. it was an interesting time to come back to an account that technically it was still mine, but it wasn't mine. It wasn't mine anymore.
Right.
But now it was mine again, so I had to like reclaim it. It was interesting.
Had you lost anything of value or?
No, because again, during those first 2 years, I didn't know anything because the only person who was my Sherpa into the WoW world was Dustin, and Dustin is not a good Sherpa for that kind of game.
Not a good Sherpa.
Like you need someone to kind of usher you in and guide you in. There's lore there. There's something behind there. You need to have someone who knows what the fuck they're doing, and he didn't. So you couldn't sit there. Here's how you do things. He didn't. He had no fucking clue. And it was around the time that Wrath of the Lich King, and that's when like things started changing. They added the looking for the group finder, and all this. Again, that's stuff that breaks the flow of how WoW was played at the time.
Right.
And so it was a changing landscape. He didn't even know what the fuck he was doing. So it's kind of like it was the blind leading the blind. And then when I came back, I finally started my WoW career in earnest, like doing stuff. And it was a ride. But yeah, so a lot of people got banned, and so a lot of our peers are mad because there was a great meme because like a lot of where Stormwind's at, the main Alliance city, like just to the south of it is a small little like hut called Goldshire, and that's where most of the RP takes place. Like if you go to an RP server, you go to Goldshire, you'll see a lot of people, and there's like there's an NPC guard there, and then there's a meme of Goldshire with the NPC guard, and it says, "It's like if it is." They quote Star Wars. It's like at a moment, millions of voices were silenced, and he's just there by himself in Goldshire, just like what the fuck happened.
Okay. Good.
Really a bad time for certain types of WoW players, I think. But I mean, if people want to RP, like I don't know. I think that WoW should be a little more open to modding, just a little bit.
At this point,
Yeah, I mean it's a fucking.
you gotta stay relevant somehow.
I mean, it's kind of what I feel they did with like the Overwatch workshop, where they're just kind of like, you do it then. Like we're gonna give you as many tools as possible without being.
We want to focus on how to monetize this, and we need to focus on stuff like Overwatch League and shit like that. So you guys do all the creative stuff, and we'll just take the good stuff that you do. Take credit for it.
I mean, that's what made Halo 3 last so fucking long. Like, we're gonna throw in Griffball. Like, fuck yeah, dude.
Griffball. Give me any sport inside of my shooters, and I'll be happy.
Like, we're good to go, dude. Again, Lucio Ball. Like
Lucio Ball, master. I am a master of Lucio Ball. Get at me. All that Rocket League preparation.
All the Rocket League prep I've done. I've been training for so long.
Mort Ball.
Mort Ball.
Good times.
So, off top, something to not do with gaming. Something that I read that I thought was fucking hilarious. I'm gonna read you this. Like, I was gonna post it for Lauren, but I was like, nah, I gotta save this one. For hopefully Lauren to be watching or listening. Either way, it's fucking hilarious. I'll probably post it after. But here is the headline. You ready? Mm-hmm. A parrot tipped off drug dealers to a raid, authorities say. Now he's in custody. They have arrested a parrot
for narking.
Apparently, the parrot noticed the cops outside and said, "Mama, police!" And they were able to prep before the cops entered the house. He must have been trained for this, one officer involved in the operation said of the parent's attempt to interfere with law enforcement. As soon as the police got close, he started shouting.
Hell yeah. We're teaching Olive.
I have to know. how that training went though, because you had to like, all right, we're gonna go to the costume shop. Everyone's gonna pick up police uniforms, right? And then like when you see them, when you shout like, so they approach, nothing. It's like police, 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 and they leave again. Then they step outside again, and then at some point it becomes mama police.
You can tell she's not paying attention because she's not here talking about it.
But check this out. The bird's efforts were not successful, however. Footage of the raid's aftermath aired shows police cataloging small bags of crack while the parrot sits obediently on the countertop next to a race car helmet and a glass bottle.
Where was this?
Where was this? Brazil.
Okay, yeah, of course it was. I don't know why I asked that. Were they also off-duty cops?
Oof. No, apparently people arrested a man and a teenage girl. That's all that it said.
Oh. The teenage girl was the one who taught the parrot to say "Mama, police."
I guess so.
Damn.
I don't know. Either way, though, after being taken into custody, the parrot did not say a word, remaining in total silence, even as law enforcement sought to loosen it up. You taught the bird not to narc to the cops either, dude? Like...
Mama didn't raise no snitch?
Clearly. Clearly.
Good.
Like, I understand teaching your dog to, like, bark at certain things or to not bark at certain things. But to teach your parrot, mama police,
right.
Oof, that's okay. Fucking...
I've got a similarly odd story.
Okay.
A rich collector in Florida, like this past week or so, was murdered by his pet cassowary, which is a very aggressive and deadly flightless bird. And that cassowary is now being auctioned off along with the rest of his menagerie. Which is particularly funny because you can buy the actual cassowary that murdered that dude if you just really want to own something that could literally murder you.
I just looked it up right now. And the title of the article that I found, because there's a lot of articles, obviously, about it.
I'm sure.
But it said, a giant bird killed its owner. Now it could be yours. And I don't know if that's the most sensitive way to talk about A, the death of somebody, and then B, the ridiculousness of having to auction off that bird.
Look, man, there's no way you could have purchased a cassowary without knowing what a cassowary is capable of. So, like, he knew it could do that, and he was like, yep, I'm going to keep one of those very close to me anyway. Like, I'm aware of how deadly they are, and I make sure that the nearest one to me is in the zoo 30 miles away.
I just think that it's what did he do to piss off this bird?
Thanks, Lauren. Pissed it off. What? I don't know.
It had to
really pissed it off.
Like, again, it's one of those things where were you poking it? Like, were you sitting there like, hey, come here, we're gonna do this or that, like, and the bird was just like, fuck off, like
trying to put a leash on it or some shit, like what rich people would do.
And of course, they it's do. A Florida man.
Dino feet.
It's a Florida man.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's where all of the worst states send all of their worst people.
That's
every southern state vacations there. New York sends all of their retirees there. Like, think about it. It's worst states. It's all of the worst states' worst people. Hashtag fuck Florida.
World's most dangerous bird is what this one article.
It is. That's not a joke.
Is it the world's most dangerous bird? I would have assumed that.
No, 100%.
One of the giant like hawks or eagles that have flight and then could swoop down and fuck you up would be up there. But okay, the cassowary. All right, cool. That's a thing. But that's hilarious, and that's tragic because it's like, yeah, you were dumb. Yeah, you were dumb, dude. That's dumb. But like, and I've done some dumb things. I've done some pretty dumb things. But it's kind of like whenever when someone goes, I had no idea that those tigers would fucking maul that guy. Like you didn't at all. There was no hit.
Like that lady that jumped in the leopard pen to get like a selfie or whatever and got fucked up.
Or
what did you think was gonna happen?
Or the lady who got like there was 2 layers of fence, right? And she jumped over the first one, and she got close, and then like a bear ripped her arm off. In Russia, like it fucked one arm up, and literally tore the other one out from the socket. And it's like, did you expect them to hug you or to give you some cuddles?
I bet they did. That's exactly what they expected.
Like, cause that's
it'll be fun. Just get up and pet it.
Like it's got fur. It's an animal like any other animal. No.
Teddy bears after them if they weren't cute.
I've seen panda bears. They're cute. There's one behind you, Nick. Yeah. That thing wouldn't kill me. That wouldn't fuck me up. Why? Now, why would it? Why would it? So dumb. It's literally like they're animals. Like even domesticated animals, they're still animals. They still have power. They have some sort of self agency and self preservation.
And birds especially birds are the only species of animal that weighs humans in one.
Let's say that again. That does what?
Birds are the only species that have ever waged war against humans in one.
Oh, the emu war.
The emu war in Australia. Humans lost. We lost that war to emus.
I don't want to say humans lost. Australians lost. Like
Australians are not humans. That's our official stance here at the Overweight Knights. Okay.
Like, I mean, I don't think they would have put up much of a fight. You know, like, is it really a thing? Yeah, I know. I see it too. I'm just saying that if you were to say like, oh, the Americans lost to that, I would be shocked. If there was something that happened that Americans were just like, oh man, we lost. No, dude, they would have more people with more guns show up and be like,
we would have nuked the fucking desert.
we would have taken them out.
You birds.
Just boom. That's it. GG's. Like, and then we would celebrate. We would celebrate how awesome we are to have done that. Like, isn't that great? We nuked that ranch, that emu ranch. It's amazing. We did it.
Did you know we used to have a parrot in the Carolinas and we hunted it to extinction?
Isn't that the one that we used the big gun? Because remember they had that. I remember I've seen the picture of like that gun that would need to have like mounted on a boat. Like
an elephant gun.
It's kind of, but it's like it was just one that had shot
a punt gun.
Yeah, it just shot.
Yeah, I think that was probably carrier pigeons, but may have been Carolina parrots too. I don't know. We fucked over a lot of bird species in America. We were really good at it.
It's something that we're proud of.
Right, like we could extinct them like nobody else.
I mean, if you want to get rid of a bird species, we're your guys.
America.
We're your guys to come in and do it.
America.
Fuck yeah. Here to cause the creation of extinction.
Yeah, here to eliminate entire species.
We're here to destroy the beauty of nature and put up a parking lot. Bop, 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 bop. Oh, I always find it weird that when we look back at those weird hunting times and they're like, oh yeah, let's get an even bigger gun. It's like, oh, okay. Like if you look back and you
Like,
think
we can't hunt these efficiently. We need more bullets faster.
I'm just shocked. Like when I looked at the picture of that gun, let me see if I can find that.
I'm pretty sure like punt guns are illegal for that specific reason.
Is that what it's called? A punt gun?
And when it's a huge shotgun equivalent, that you mount on
Yeah,
something bigger, yeah. I'm pretty sure
yeah,
it's called punt guns.
yeah. I'm gonna show this on stream real quick. What I just
I'm not actually a gun nut, but I know a thing or two.
like. Look at that picture, dude. Oh my god.
Yep. They're considered ungentlemanly. I know that much.
All I know is that they built a gun like for a giant, like for someone that's
Yeah, that's a giant's like coach shotgun.
yeah, it's like their pistol.
That is Andre the Giant's sidearm before they sawed the barrel off.
Right? It's honestly the craziest thing because look at those guys are wearing like those dapper hats. Then,
Look how fancy we are with our giant gun.
those vaudeville hats. They come come watch us hunt these ducks with our brand new.
We really just don't like ducks. Fuck you, duck.
With our new punt gun, we can shoot many birds out of the sky. Come watch us kill many waterfowl and make a lot of meat unusable.
We can wipe out whole families. Oh man.
I think that's the gun that they used to wipe out multiple species. It was just so efficient.
Yeah.
It's like
It's super good at killing little tiny things that fly around.
it's just ouch.
Bet they felt like really big dudes.
I mean, probably. I mean, in one way, yeah. But I think you see that and you go, man, this is a very big gun. we are very small.
Like I said, there's nothing sporting about that. At least aim. The least you can do if you're gonna kill a living thing is aim at it. Like it's the very least. And that gun removes even that necessity.
So speaking of being ungentlemanly, because I figure that's a good way to transition.
Hell yeah, I'm
transition
stoked
here.
for this segue.
All right, amazing segue. Speaking of being
I'm here for it.
speaking of being ungentlemanly, here's a great article that I read. Right, R. Kelly loses civil court case after missing hearing. He lost his case because he just didn't show up. After he was found to not be able to afford bail, having only $600 in his account, a fan stepped up to pay for his bail, and then the day of his hearing, he missed it, and therefore he lost.
Now, is that really what happened, or did he just arrange for somebody to pay for his bail out of money he'd hidden away so nobody could take it?
It's hard to say. The story goes.
Because I
it's a
honestly
fan.
assumed that's what happened.
Like, I only have $600, and he's like, oh, wink.
Yeah, oh, this just random fan will come pay my $2 million bail. Where he got it from, he's just rich that way. I mean, like, duh. Like, have a secret account, be like, dude, I'll pay you a retainer to just come bail me out with this money if I ever get arrested. I just hang out there, live at my crib, eat my food, hold on to my money. You can live the high life and just help me out. Maybe I'm just too paranoid and I'd be planning too hard, but like, I might try that.
There's always money in the
had
banana
money.
stand.
There is always money.
Did R. Kelly have his banana stand? Is the question. Did he have that stashed away? This is where that money is. Oh, wink.
Join the conversation on Twitter. Hashtag R. Kelly's banana stand. That is how you drive the conversation. You create the story.
You create the story, dude.
I feel like I just want to go out there and tweet just that with no other context and just see what happens.
But yeah, he lost by default, and I think here's the strategy. I think here's what happened. So he misses the court date, and he gets convicted and gets put in jail. but because he lost by default, he never had to go through saying that he was guilty or them proving he was guilty. Him losing.
Yes, but it's a civil case. Like, that shit gets decided outside of guilt. Like, OJ's not guilty, but he lost a civil case, so he owed shit.
Yes, but that's my point, is that he can now say, like, oh, well, the only reason I had to pay any money or do anything is because I didn't do anything with that girl. I just didn't show up. Like, these allegations aren't true because I just didn't show up.
I mean, that's a distinction that nobody's gonna give a shit about.
The people, I just had this conversation with a buddy of mine because I've been having this issue. He tweeted this morning that he goes, I walked into this place and Michael Jackson's playing on the radio, and it seems like no one else seems to like notice or care or have some sort of like reaction to it, where he personally does, because he's like, he now, since that documentary came out, it's kind of like there's a certain, idea that you become more ethically minded with your media and stuff, right? Like, you might not want to go back and watch Revenge of the Nerds because
Right.
you looked at it differently. It's a different light now.
Right.
Michael Jackson's music, R. Kelly's music, anything that Jimmy Savile did for people in the UK, like anytime that it comes out that, oh, this person was a fucking monster, maybe like you don't see the Bill Cosby show fucking rerunning anywhere. That is gone, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So we were having a conversation about people, if it doesn't affect their day to day, they usually don't care. And it's a not necessarily a problem, but it's something that you can notice if you are someone who is socially minded, where you're kind of like, I'm not going to listen to people who associate with this person or that person. Like, I'm not going to let okay, here's another example. So the band Churches, I don't know if you've heard of them. They spell churches with the V instead of the U. Mm-hmm. They came out and basically said, we love Marshmello, that DJ guy. They're like, we love Marshmello. I am dropping frames apparently once again, and I don't know why. But anyway, so Churches came out and said, oh, we love Marshmello, but we find it really like messed up that you still associate with someone like Chris Brown and Tyga. Like, and you shouldn't do that. And so it became a big old uproar. And so, like, I've now had 3 different things happen relating to the same thing, where here's the singer from Churches being very socially minded, right? And saying you shouldn't associate. Here's me saying it's okay to look back and think you shouldn't. Then my friend tweets about him entering, and he and I have a conversation on Twitter over why is no one caring? Like, it's kind of weird to just sit around and think that, oh, well, the music's good enough that I can ignore child abuse. And it's kind of like that's how low the line is, that you can be like, cool, yeah, but I like Thriller, so I think it's fine. When at a certain point you gotta be like, either you have to acknowledge it at the same time or whatever. But I got called a very negative person. I'm a very down person, and I was like, I don't see that personally. That I don't think that I mean, I can be negative, but like, I don't think saying, hey, you probably, you can enjoy the Cosby Show. If you want to watch the Cosby Show, fine. If you want to dissociate yourself from the person that he fucking is and / was, fine. I don't care. But you have to kind of also acknowledge the fact that he's a terrible person. Like, he did terrible things. He admitted it straight up. Like, that's part of the court documents that came out. There was no, justice for Cosby. Cosby admitted it. Yeah, I gave them Quaaludes. I'm like, oh, okay, well, then you just admitted that you drugged them. Got it. Okay. And he was like, it was the 70s, late 90s. It's like,
Yeah, it was
no.
fine.
Like, no, dude. No, dude. It's not, it wasn't good. So it kind of comes down to, like, what is the line? What's the line for your ethically...
That's a big question.
It
It's
is.
a really big question.
'Cause-
I mean, I don't think there's going to be one universal answer either. I don't think you're going to be able to say like, okay, you know, this is how it works for everyone going forward. Like, I think it's going to be case by case. I don't see any other way around that.
I think it also has to be a personal thing.
Because I mean, like, well, like Revenge of the Nerds. That is an example. I'm not going to watch that again. It made me really uncomfortable. Like seeing that gave me a visceral reaction that I don't want to experience again. Like I was really uncomfortable with it. So I won't watch it again. And that's just going to happen. Michael Jackson's music is pervasive throughout our culture. It would be very hard to remove that entirely from your presence. You can certainly remove it from your personal presence, but I mean, shit, man, it's going to come on in movies and TV shows and shit. It's going to happen. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to go running and hide? Like that's not a realistic response.
No.
So what do? You just kind of grin and bear it. You recognize, okay, there can be, you know, you can even have an emotional connection to this song that has nothing to do with the artist and their personal life, but also recognize that, man, that artist did some fucked up shit. Like, I don't know how you handle that really. It's
I think it also has to be
again,
a
it's
personal
case by
thing.
case.
I think it has to be a personal thing.
You can probably very easily not experience a lot of Chris Brown's music in your day-to-day life and not have to worry about it. So like that one's gonna be easy. The Cosby Show is probably not gonna run on a TV show or on a TV network again, so you're probably not gonna just stumble across it. Those are gonna be easy things to avoid, you know. But other stuff won't be.
Well, because I mean, the question then comes down to like someone like Chris Brown. Chris Brown is still young and still in the music industry. He's still producing, and it seems like the industry itself protects it because of this or that, because of money, essentially. But like, shouldn't it have been a like a bigger thing to be like, yeah, you're done. Like that should have been a career-ending thing that happened.
Should have been. It should have been for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, but you're talking about how recent that was, like, because then people start arguing, and I've had people bring this up. Oh, so what? I'm not supposed to listen to things like the Beatles and stuff. I'm kind of like, here's the thing. That was definitely a different time, and it's okay to be like, okay, I still like, you know, Aerosmith, even with the stuff that Steven Tyler did. But that doesn't mean I have to listen to any of his like new stuff or like continue to support him in that way. Just because I like some of the shit he did back then. Or the Beatles. Like, John Lennon's not around anymore. Yes, I get it. He was not a good person. He was a piece of shit. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy the Beatles.
right.
And I have a great recent example. So there was a lot of shit that happened with one of my favorite bands, from the lead singer of Brand New. There were some accusations, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of people were kind of like, well, fuck Brand New, blah, blah, blah. There were still other people in that band, right? Like, it was not just a solo artist thing that you can sit there and be like, okay, well, fuck Chris Brown. There was a collaborative effort there, and you still enjoy like the music, but you can still acknowledge that what the singer did was really shitty.
Right.
Right.
Also, there's a lot more jobs that are supported by a band like that than just the people in the band. You know, you have an entire support system, an entire crew around them. And if you tell the band to fuck off, you're kind of telling them to fuck off too, which is not necessarily saying you shouldn't do that in a certain situation, but it certainly adds another wrinkle.
It just gets cloudy for me. Is that fair? To be like, there's a bit of cloudiness.
I think that's what growing up is realizing that there are more shades of gray every day. Like nothing is black and white anymore, and it gets worse and worse every day.
Well, what I was told was stop being so sensitive, and one of the specific discussion was about movies, and using my example of Revenge of the Nerds, they were like, "There's nothing wrong with those movies." I'm like, "There's nothing wrong with Revenge of the Nerds." That's what you're straight up telling me. There's nothing
That's
wrong
your
with
thesis.
it. Like, if you're gonna sit there and tell me that, I don't think you've seen it. And then two,
I can point to one scene in particular that I'm thinking of.
I
So
can see everyone points to that scene, but I can point to like everything leading up to that scene, like the penny raid thing.
yeah,
That was already bad enough. But then during the penny raid, they set up cameras. So now here's this group of guys with illegal spy equipment watching them in the shower and as they change. And then it's like, okay, so that itself is bad enough. But now they take that equipment and those images and sell them at the fair without their consent. And they play it off like, look at how much money they're raising. They play it off positively. And it's like, before we even get to the rape, you're over here, like, doing some really fucking not cool things.
right. This is where you start.
Yeah, and they're painted as the heroes. So it's kind of like, I can understand how that was in the 80s, where you didn't think that implication looked through. It was just that same boys will be boys, haha.
Well, right, because women weren't real people in those movies. They were just
Props
set
and
dressing.
prizes. They were props and prizes. They were not people. Not in that movie. So
'Cause
so
if anybody brought any woman in, hey, what do you think of this script? She would have been like, hey, heroes are rapists. Sorry.
But yeah, I was told that by women that I was being too sensitive, blah blah blah, all this crazy shit. I'm just like, I don't think you guys have seen this movie, and if you have, like, I'm not understanding your stance. Like, personally, I'm not understanding that I can. And it's one of those things where you can sit there and say, yeah, that was a product of its time. I'm not saying don't enjoy it. I'm not saying burn it. Like, oh, but I think that you looking at it as a more mature adult and still saying this is okay says a lot more about you than them when they made it. Like,
Right.
it says a lot more. Like when you watch like old stuff from the 50s, 60s and 70s, right? You see some really like, holy shit, this is really fucking like some sexist ass shit.
Just go down the AFI top 100 and see how many blackface you see. Like, it's only a couple, but it's there. You have all sorts of problematic shit throughout history.
Right, and that was one of the examples I get. Like, we move on, our media moves on. Like, we don't do minstrel shows anymore for a fucking reason. Like, we moved on,
They're not a good idea.
and we've moved on from trying to frame that behavior as positive for a comedy. Like, we've grown up a little bit to a certain extent.
We're also just more clever than that. Like, we can do better than that.
Yeah,
We
and
have to do better than that.
I was told people like me were ruining comedy. And I was like, if you can't find humor without needing to use that particular material, I think you need to either one, rethink your humor, or two, like, just take a really good hard look at yourself and what you find funny and why you
Right.
might find it funny.
Right.
Like, I think because the entire conversation started with an article about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and I think it was about the portrayal of African tribes people.
Oh, really?
And I was like, okay, so they were just kind of
I
like,
just assumed it was the trans issue.
was there a trans issue in Pet Detective? Again, I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in so long. Like, that's why I think,
Yeah, the main bad guy's a trans woman. Like that's the big reveal in the end, but they don't use the term. Cool. It's very problematic.
is that how that? Let's see. I'm gonna read the plot synopsis.
Like going and watching that movie will make watching early It's Always Sunny when they're talking about the tranny feel quaint. We'll be like, oh, that's cute. Like only a slightly problematic term that they're obviously misusing on purpose.
Hang on, ready? I'm gonna read the last paragraph of this plot synopsis of Pet Detective.
Hit it.
Ventura strips Einhorn of her clothes to expose her failure to completely change her sex, but fails until Marino points out a bulge in the back of Einhorn's underwear. Actually, Finkel's unchanged privates hidden out of view. This confirms that Finkel murdered Phot actor after the latter had discovered Finkel's secret. Einhard is arrested by the police after attacking Ventura, and Finkel's ring is identified to have a missing stone. Marino and Snowflake are welcomed back during halftime at the Super Bowl in a match between the Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles. Ventura tries to retrieve a valuable albino pigeon, but is scared off by the Eagles' mascot Swoop, causing Ventura to attack him in retaliation. That's how the movie ends, revealing that someone had not fully transitioned. And now I understand that a little bit more as why that's a... So apparently me saying that it's okay to look back, because again, I didn't read the article, but I guess that was probably what the article was about.
Probably.
But my only thesis to comment on that particular article was it's okay to look back at old media and acknowledge that things were different, and we probably shouldn't frame certain things and certain people in certain ways anymore. And I think doing that to someone who's transitioning probably is not the right thing. Probably
I
not.
mean, that's the thing that it completely ignores when people talk about this, especially from the other side, is that you don't understand how damaging it is to have stuff like this exist when there are children and young adults who are dealing with these issues. Like, it's not cool.
I mean,
reinforce these negative behaviors and these negative thoughts of people that are already struggling.
Because there was a trend.
Don't ever seem to care about that.
There was a trend in the 80s where, I mean, it still kind of happens, but not really to that extent. But when you think of classic bad guys, even from as far back as the black and white, original Wild Wild West kind of days, for some reason the villain was always a little more feminine, a little more effeminate, right, typically foreign, so just a foreign dandy kind of person, and that's how. And it's kind of that's where you reinforce that people like that are not good,
right?
And it's kind of I can get that, I understand that that's a problem. But yeah, but I was having a discussion because I was at what point is that a problem? And now to loop it back to R. Kelly, when you ask, that's not going to matter, who is it going to matter to? The people who still go, oh, well, but I like his music, and not care the fact that this dude's been accused multiple times throughout the years. Those people are the ones that are going to be I don't care. Because I have literally had conversations with the people who say, I do not care. You guys are ruining comedy. And if you point out things about people's music, they're going to probably tell me, you're ruining music.
Right. Think about the people that have been through similar experiences to the victim of what R. Kelly's done. What you're telling them is, you don't matter. Your experience doesn't matter. I would rather just continue to support your abuser regardless of what they've done to you and what your experience is, because fuck it, I don't really care. That's what you're telling them. I mean, it's just not okay. It's not okay.
And then Lauren just pointed out to me, which is also true, someone may consider themselves fully transitioned even if they haven't gone through a sex change operation. But in the context of that story, that's the whole point, is that this person hasn't gone through that, therefore hasn't fully transitioned, and therefore that's why they're the person, because it had to be a man. Again, it's been so long. Is the point of that movie that it had to have been a man to
yes,
to murder?
Yeah.
It's been forever. Jesus.
They couldn't figure out who it was because I can't remember what it was, but it had to be a dude. And when they realized that, oh, yep, she it's just problematic.
Okay, I get that now. Okay. I am on board. I am caught up. I'm here. I'm here. So, I guess that... get off all that. Just to get off all that. We figured it out. All right, dude. We figured it out. I also read an interesting article, speaking of media. A lost sequel to A Clockwork Orange was discovered in the original author's archives. Should it be published? Do you think? What do you think?
I mean, should it be published?
Yeah.
Should it be? My personal opinion is no. I'm not a fan of a collage. I don't need any. Will it be published? Probably. Should and could are different. Like, is there anything preventing it from being published? No.
Well, I mean, so you don't like a Clockwork Orange?
No. It's torture porn.
True.
And I have actually been tortured. I don't need any porn. If we're just gonna be frank here, like I don't need it. No, fuck that.
It's just strange. So it just said like it's not finished, but there's quite a lot there. If you put the book together, you can see what might have been. It's like,
so we're gonna get the same kind of bastard bullshit that we got at Harper Lee's estate. Like I'm not here for that either.
Right, that's what I was about to say, because the same kind of shit happened with Harper Lee, where they were like, "Oh, here's this thing that she wrote at the time." It's kind of like, well, if she didn't release it, maybe it's because
she didn't want to.
She didn't want to.
She worked a long time on To Kill a Mockingbird. Long time. It was her only book. Like, should have left it there.
Right, and then because they ruined. Who did they ruin? They ruined.
I didn't read it. I don't want to know. Like, I'm not interested in having.
I mean, it's not saying it's not like it matters. It's just like it's Scout when she's
I'm not
older
saying you
shit.
can't tell me. I'm just saying like I didn't go through any knowledge of it, so I don't have any. Wasn't interested.
I think it was one of those things where. Well, because you can, I still see The Killing Mockingbird as its own individual thing, and that's all you need. But like, I think that she wrote this, and I think she probably saw it and probably thought, no, and for good reason, because it changes how you see, the father.
Oh, Atticus.
You change how you view Atticus, because instead of him being kind of more just doing what's right. Like doing right for right's sake, it became definitely more like painted as because I was obligated to. I just did the best that I could.
Got it.
And it's like, yeah, now you make him not seem as altruistic and not as much of a hero figure the way that everyone has seen him forever. And I have a feeling that's why she didn't release it, because she was like, probably not. That's probably not the case. That's probably not the direction I wanted to go for Atticus. Which understood.
Especially not given the circumstances. Like the whole like everyone deserves a fair trial thing kind of makes sense if the person's guilty.
Right.
But
we came out to the conclusion. We came to the conclusion in the first book that he wasn't. So yeah, I just thought it was weird. So you have this incomplete book, and it reminds me. Okay, so it reminds me of Harper Lee. Then it reminds me of Dr. Seuss's incomplete work, and then it reminds me of like Tolkien's unfinished shit.
Douglas Adams had an unfinished novel released.
Like
wasn't good.
Like at what point do you just go, okay, stop?
If you want to release something, just release the notes. Like that, I'd be interested in reading. Like if you just reproduce like one of Tolkien's journals, yeah, I'd buy that. You can have the whole story laid out in there for me to just kind of peruse through his notes on. I'd rather see it in his hand anyway. Like, fine.
And it makes you think of like, what if George R. Martin dies? Like,
what are you gonna do? Release his fucking Apple II, whatever it is he types on, like.
his disconnected from the internet fucking typewriter type shit that he's like.
Just release his MS DOS machine as like a program, an exe you can run.
Just downloadable. Here's the rest of a Song of Ice and Fire.
It's gonna take up 13 megabytes. You're gonna be able to email it. It's gonna be great.
You're gonna be able to text it to people.
I'm here for it. Let's
Oh, here. Let me just text you the rest of Game of Thrones, dude. Here you go, dude. You did it. You win, my dude. Yeah. It was just interesting that that popped up, and then maybe think of all the how do you pronounce it? Posthumous? Is that how you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the people's posthumous works that get released. and it's kind of like, I don't know if I care. I don't know if I want to
I
see your posthumous work.
what I would like to see happen would be the general round. I like that idea. Otherwise, no. Like, just stop. Again, don't we have anything new? Can we not do better than the shit that people died not wanting to release yet?
Well, I mean, like with Dr. Seuss, he just died before he was finished, and I get that. And that's why, again, same with George R. R. Martin. I'm just like, and I think what was the book series where the author died and someone else took over? There was a series where that was a thing, where like he died book 6 or 7, and they went on to, like he laid out all the groundwork.
Was that Wheel of Time?
I think Wheel of Time. I think it was Wheel of Time, where he died and they made it to like book 13, like with a replacement writer. But because he laid out such a great groundwork of what he wanted, where he wanted it to go.
And it was somebody big too, like Sanderson or somebody who came in. Shit.
Yeah, it was Wheel of Time. Yeah. Lauren just confirmed it.
Preach, babe.
But yeah, it was that. Like I could see that happening with Martin because of the fact that he had to lay it out in a way for the show that I could see them taking his notes, taking everything that he's done, and kind of reaching particular conclusions.
Yeah, I mean, they've had to know for a while they were building towards for Game of Thrones. So like, that was kind of almost an insurance policy. Like, if he never gets around to finishing it, fine, we will have an ending.
I mean, at least we'll get something, some sort of conclusion.
I mean, we're already getting some stuff, I guess.
I mean, now it's that those theories are getting confirmed left and right.
It's almost boring at this point. Like, I kind of miss when there were so many theories that could still be possible that we didn't really know what it was.
I mean, that's where
we were just in limbo. Like, I read the book like in 2005. Is when I first started reading them. Mm-hmm. Like, some of these things I've been sitting on for a long time, and like I kind of miss waiting to find out.
I'm not in the same boat. I'm not in the same boat.
Fuck out of here, Moth.
Like, because it's one of those things where I understand it's bittersweet. I can understand it'd be bittersweet, but like at some point, like, come on, I just need to know. I just need to know.
Yeah, I just kind of miss speculating.
Okay, non-spoilers though. Prediction on who's gonna die this weekend. I know for anyone listening on the audio podcast, you've already seen it. Anyone watching it on YouTube, you've already seen it. But we haven't seen it because it's Friday live on Twitch, where you guys should be joining in the conversation. But predictions.
Predictions.
Who's gonna die? Who dies? Who's first death?
I don't know. I really haven't speculated that much. I more just kind of want to see the ride, like for the Thanos will die, maybe. I mean,
dude, spoilers.
I mean, yeah. Jon Snow is gonna.
You know that? I mean, what would be the most shocking death? Not the most gruesome, because they can make any death of those gruesome. Because a lot of people have beloved characters. Because like if you had little Mormont girl get completely fucking decimated on screen, it would be tragic as fuck.
That would be a little rough.
That'd be messed up. That'd be so.
I've seen way too much child murder as it is.
But if little Mormont girl was kind of out there, like, I'm out there to fight, and then she gets like torn to shreds by White Walkers, it would be the most like devastating, like emotional, like wrenching, like ugh. Like, why? Why did you do
the worst since the last most gut wrenching death? Like,
right? Like
on a scale of fucking no, like Shireen to Ned. Where does she fall?
Where does she fall on that scale?
You know, somewhere in there. I don't know, man.
Like, I think if
I don't think Tormund's gonna make it out.
Well, okay, so speaking of things that are problematic, I was told that Tormund's problematic because his
Because he's aggressively sexually pursuing someone.
yes, who has denied him, and he's still like being very pushy, not accepting no for an answer. And I was kind of like, and my only thought was, I, I think that's where the gray area comes in because
So
he is because you're in a because you have to take the context of that world where arranged marriages, rape and killing and this and that, and like here's a guy who wants to be respectful, and he understands that he was told no, but he still wants to pursue it. It's not like he then took her and raped her. It wasn't any of that shit.
well,
He respects
he's trying
her.
to court her.
He's trying to
Trying to court
respect her.
Respect.
Respect her.
uh,
He's trying to
no,
respect her.
what's interesting, I was talking to a friend of mine about this past week, and she read it as Brienne not even necessarily not into it. That was her interpretation. Now, I read it as he's very much not into it and trying very hard to turn him away while also being polite, because I've been there. But I don't know. It's interesting that I've had people that read it differently, that maybe she wasn't necessarily unopposed to it, which is interesting. I'm trying to think back if she ever actually said, no, I'm not interested. Not that changes anything, folks, just that I'm curious.
I just think that if you take it to the context of the world, like someone was
Because
saying,
the world is downright a feminist, but like that doesn't make it necessarily okay in the grand scheme of things. But
I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm saying that
right.
like
It's interesting as part of the narrative.
It's
It makes sense that Tormund would be more focused on actually trying to like
court her instead of steal her away and take her.
He's trying to prove his worth and show like, hey, this is about like he probably needs to pump the brakes a little bit, but also like could be a whole lot worse.
Like, because then in the same breath, these same people are like, I could see Jamie and Brienne together, and I was like, you want to ship the guy whose arc has taken him to a much better place, but you understand like where he started from was a bad place, right? Like it was an awful place.
I'm not sure I read any of that between them being sexual. I could very easily see his affection for her as just being pure admiration and appreciation.
Yes, but I'm saying they're the ones that are kind of like, oh, I could ship that kind of thing. I could see that happening, and it's like, but Tormund, who's trying his goddamn hardest to be like respectful, he's trying. Like he's not because again, someone who's a wildling who people have this thought of like they're just savages, blah blah blah. Here he is saying like yes, other people might not think you as beautiful, but you are Brienne the beautiful to me. Like to me, I see you that way, and he's trying to compliment her. And he's trying to do this, and it's like, okay, she said no, but you can't necessarily put that same context of our society, like within the rules of their society, that is next level, like holy shit, respect. But in our society, no. And like you have to kind of know the dissonance between those two things. Where where this happening in 2019, our world, yeah, that would probably be a yikes, and you need to stop. You need to fucking back off. But in the Game of Thrones world, he's like, damn, that's like, you're right. In their world, he's a damn right feminist. Like,
I don't know. What my interpretation of what's going on changes depending on where he plays out, but I feel like they've just tried to make him seem more ridiculous in his attempts so that they can distance him and Brienne to give an opening for him and Jamie, or for her and Jamie rather.
him and Jamie.
And
now
Jamie.
there's a look.
There's a slip of the tongue.
There's an idea right there.
But no, I think they're trying to make it more natural that it's going to be Brienne and Jamie who end up in some sort of like end scenario. Like I feel like their characters are kind of intertwined to the end, and in order to make Tormund's shit from last season not seem so serious, I have to make him seem more ridiculous now. That was my kind of interpretation of what's going on there.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like, just okay, well, We were kind of playing it serious last season. Now we'll play it silly, so people will go, "Oh yeah, no, he can't possibly be with Brienne. Like she's not into it." And you're like, "Okay, cool."
I mean, I guess it's just it's one of those things where you see how everyone's relationships are kind of because you know that it's coming to an end. You know it's coming to an end.
Yep.
So
We got 4 episodes left.
something like that. But you know that they're gonna maybe not necessarily wrap things up because I don't think that they're gonna wrap up every fucking plot thread on the planet. It'd be impossible. And I'm fine with things being left open post show. You know,
Yeah.
keep the buzz going. Keep the ideas alive. You can't just say and then everyone died, like.
Yeah, like if the White Walkers win, it's gonna be a really unsatisfying end. Like, oh, I waited how long?
Cool.
For the end to just be like, yep, the natural expected end just kind of happened.
And the time of man had passed. Like, oh, cool. This is
Like it'd be like if it built up to the very last episode. And the last episode is just somebody sitting there telling you, like, okay, so then the White Walkers won and everybody died, but then it didn't really matter because global warming happened and the whole planet ended up as just like one big barren rock after like two. So like,
right. There's
just like.
There's a certain long enough timeline that like it made me mad. When you start looking at a long enough timeline, you become way too nihilistic, and it's dumb. Of course, etc. 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 Like someone was like, I don't care about endgame spoilers. Everyone dies eventually. Like, yes, you're right. Everyone eventually dies. I don't. That's not how. Who gives a fuck?
Who dies and who doesn't die is not the point of Endgame.
It's their story.
How it happens and what the results are is what's interesting. So knowing who dies even is not necessarily.
Yeah, but they'll all be dead in about 200 years anyway.
Who fucking cares? We're all going to be dead in the heat death of the universe in just a couple of billion years. It's fine.
Let people enjoy things.
Right.
Like it's okay. Like
yeah, that's the key takeaway. Let people enjoy things.
Like if there's a problem, let me know. Like again, when I first saw certain things, I didn't see a problem, and that's a thing for me to personally grow. And I'm okay with you pointing that out, and then I go, oh shit, you know what? You're right. And you have to be mature enough to have that sort of internal reflection and be like, yeah, I can understand why this is not right. Like, and probably rethink it. Because again, we all have to grow as people. We all have to grow as people at some point. But if something that's not that problematic, blah blah blah, like let me just watch it and enjoy my superhero movie. Why do you care? Why do you care?
You didn't even care about these properties 10 years ago. Like, just let me enjoy this movie.
Like that was the weird thing. Whenever Iron Man was first coming out, everyone was kind of like, there's a majority of people were like, Iron Man, who the fuck is that? But there was a lot of people who were into him. I was into Iron Man and Captain America because of the arcade game, The Avengers. Like I was like, okay. I liked Hawkeye. I was into Captain America. Give me some Iron Man. I was like, this is fucking cool. The first guy enemy was like the tornado guy, and it was the best because like when he would like he'd go and like do a whirlwind across the screen because it was an arcade beat him up, you know. But but the guy he would then stop and you go, like that was his exact laugh. Like if I can find it, I wish I could find it quick enough. I don't know if I'll be able to find it quick enough. But the first boss, it's all just of the playground. Oh, I mean, it's just all these full playthroughs.
Right. No, just like for whatever reason, the comic books that I read the most growing up were Batman and Hulk comics, and so Hulk gets a lot of interaction with a bunch of different Marvel heroes. So you end up reading other stuff too. So when Iron Man came out, I was stoked about it. Like, Jr., I mean, I don't know. He was a good actor before the whole meltdown, so odds are he was going to do a good job. And we knew that we still knew at that point that Edgar Wright was working on Ant-Man, so I was kind of excited about that. Never happened, but I was excited about it. Oh, check it out. You cannot escape.
Oh my god. Or maybe he didn't laugh. Maybe that's just me thinking of things. I don't know. Or maybe this playthrough was just so good that he never gets to the point where he laughs because he's already down to most of his health. Like, it's crazy.
No, see, the game, the beat 'em up I grew up playing was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time game on the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he killed him way too fast for even get to that. Whatever, that's fine. But yeah, so he just stands there like, haha, like, and you even seen that clip. Iron Man's in it. That's where I'm just in. I'm in to win.
Right.
They're making an Iron Man movie. I love Iron Man.
Like I've seen every other bad comic book movie, like the Phantom, and
Isn't that the one with Billy Zane?
yeah. Oh yeah.
That was a great movie. It was
I
Billy
know.
fucking Zane.
I know. But I watched all those weird old comic book movies. So like Iron Man's coming out, cool, let's do it. Like saw it in theaters opening week.
And it blew me away.
I've seen every one of the Marvel movies in theaters. Every one.
I think the only one I didn't because of particular time constraints, I think was one of the better ones. But luckily, I got to see it on a replay because there's a theater that plays like movies after the fact. Was Thor Ragnarok. Like I saw it at home before then going back to see it in theaters.
Okay.
So that was an interesting one.
It's crazy. I mean, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been going for so long now that like, I think I've been on at least 2 different first dates that were at Marvel movies.
2008 to now, 11 years. I could see that. I can see that.
I definitely went on a first date to see the Avengers.
2012.
2012. Then I definitely went. Let's see. On a different first date for Guardians of the Galaxy, which would have been like what?
2014.
2014. So 2 years later. That scans. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I've probably seen it with 5 different people. Genders make things hard.
That's interesting.
Partners, 5 different former datees.
Datees.
Yeah.
And you're the dater.
4 chicks and a dude. Whatever you want to call that.
A sitcom.
A sitcom.
Haha! A sitcom of people.
I call that a pilot for 13 episodes.
So apropos of nothing, like I know we got to wrap this up, but
Yes, it's late.
I got a certain complaint. So,
okay. Spill the tea.
People, anybody who thinks that you enter a workforce, and if you think that your off time is more valuable than someone else's off time because they don't have kids or they're not married or they're not even have a significant other. If you think that their off time is less important, like that means that they should have to work more or they should be the ones that get called in or they're the ones that have to cover shifts. If you honestly think that, I probably think you're a piece of shit person. Because I've had to deal with that.
Here's the fun part. You might be a piece of shit person. That might be true about you.
It
No, like that's very shitty. It's very shitty.
Well, I mean, it's something that I've had to deal with since I started working ever was, oh, well, you know, like, why don't you call him in? Because, you know, he doesn't have kids or anything. And it's like, so that means that fuck me? Like, I got to work the double, this and that. Like, no, like, if I want to go home and do nothing, that's what I should be able to choose. And you got to be okay with.
I don't really have that same experience, I guess, because like take all those opportunities. Like that's part of my strategy for work. That's why I'm always the boss everywhere I work.
Well, it's still one of those things where I can do a great job, but I think that if you're gonna tell me that I need to be working, an 80-hour week because someone else doesn't want to even come in because you're always shorthanded because this and that. Like, no, I don't think it's my necessarily job, or I don't think it's anyone else's job too who doesn't have kids to have to burden that at any sort of employment because they don't have kids.
Right.
Like if your job schedules you from X to X or X to Y, it's like you should be able to be okay with them saying, "I'm going to work the hours that you've scheduled me. If you would like me to work more, schedule me more." And if that instead of having to be like, "Oh, okay, well, can you cover?" I can't. Like I got stuff I got to do. I'm gonna hang out with friends. I'm gonna go watch a movie. I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck it is I want. And they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, but like, no, that should be the end of that conversation." Like, "Oh, but you don't have kids." Nope, that doesn't matter. That should not matter. If I'm saying that I don't want to or I can't, you can't just say like, "Oh, well, why? It's not like you have kids or anything." Like, what if I want to watch a movie and I already had it planned out?
It's none of your
Yeah, it's none of your fucking business what I do outside of these walls. But that's something that I've had to deal with, and it's just something that like it just angers me because like I'm like because again I am like you were. I'll go in most of the time. Most of the time I will, because a lot of times I don't. Maybe I don't have something planned, but if I do, I should not have to be like questioned on it because I don't have kids. And it's just like, ew.
Unless you're offering something. If it's, hey, I'll pay you $20 to cover my shift, like then maybe we'll have a conversation. But you have to offer something. My time is valuable.
And I just thought it was weird because like I was told like, well, I mean, it's not like you're married, and it's like, so.
Right. That means I only have my time to invest into my household. So like, I don't have somebody else that can clean up the house when I'm not there. So maybe that's what I'm having to do. Maybe I have to go find a wife. How am I going to do that if I'm keeping?
Oh, so how come you've been single your entire life?
Why don't you care about my future children? I can't have them if you keep me away.
I can't make more babies. I can't make a baby here. Well, I could.
Like I can come up with a ridiculous response. That's pretty much my forte.
Morte's forte.
Morte's forte. It's fuck.
That would be a great segment. That's a great segment. Oh my god.
I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but we're gonna have to develop that one.
We're gonna have to do something with that. That's too good of a rhyming scheme to let go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we gotta wrap this up. We gotta wrap this up.
Tired.
Gonna
Look, I'm falling asleep.
Catch you guys later. Do it. Thanks everybody. Catch you next week, and we'll see what happens. We'll see who the first one to die is. Probably still won't be talking about Endgame because it'll be still pretty fresh, and
it'll still be too early for folks.
It's way too fresh. We might reference it like a yes or no, watch it, don't watch it, but everyone's gonna say watch it because like,
we'll give a spoiler-free opinion.
Catch you next week. I know we started late this week, but we'll try again to start next week. Maybe we'll have more people. Probably Tony. See if Phot's available. But thanks everybody. Catch you next week.
Bye.